suggested it.
No,
I
You're
think
right.
you both.
William.
I think you both may have suggested it.
You've seen it, and you go, "Hey, yeah, let's watch that movie."
Yeah,
that did not
I
hold
did.
up.
I hadn't seen it for a long time. I forgot what a god awful mess it is.
Steven Spielberg.
Yes.
Wait, we gotta get into this the right way.
Yeah, let's play the music.
Let's start. We got to start because I'm hot right now.
Because you just finished watching it.
Yeah.
When did we watch it, Tom? Last night.
Last night.
Molly, what's wrong with you? Where are you? Did you forget to pay the heating bill?
No.
Oil's too expensive where you are?
William always makes fun of me for wearing this hat because in the studio it's cold. So I wear the hat and he makes fun of me. So I was like, I'm going to wear the hat. And then Tom said that I should wear my new reading glasses too.
Look at that.
She's got that kind of look. She's got that kind of Milwaukee East Sider look, even though she's way out there in Grafton.
There's a little bit of librarian in there too somewhere. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah.
And Tom's got a wig on.
They've got the blue blocker. No, he didn't flip his hair up like he normally.
He ran out of products.
I thought the hairdresser was doing something special with his hair before he came on.
No, that's his sweet boy
his
look.
Normal hair. That's natural.
Yeah, that's his. I'm an innocent. Yeah,
I'm a sweet boy.
It's school picture day.
So run the music. Let's go. Let's rock and roll. Let's do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, Movies with Mark.
So the movie for today, class, I've got to find out something else to talk to you, is 1941. And my initial, when I first came on and saw you, my initial statement was that we should go because I just now finished laughing. And no, I can't even do it now. I couldn't stop laughing.
That's what you did. That's exactly what you did.
Because that was sort of take two. Take one was better, but anyway, it's always better. But the thing about this movie that's crazy is that it's such an incredible mess. It's very funny now and again. It strains and struggles hard to be funny now and again. It's got everybody in it.
Too hard.
I mean,
sometimes too hard.
Yeah, and sometimes way too hard. It should just relax. It's was made in 1979, the year after Animal House came out. So John Belushi is fired up again, essentially playing Blutarsky, the same guy, only it's Wild Bill Kelso, who's flying a plane around Los Angeles. The premise of the movie, for those of you listening, the four of you listening who haven't watched it, is
give us more credit.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how many listeners do we have. How many people actually?
It's growing. We get.
Oh, good. Good.
We get people enjoying this.
I have to.
We have fun.
I'll promote it on Facebook. Send me something that I can tell people to go to it, and I'll put it on my Facebook page. Because I have 4,000 friends on Facebook.
Right. There you go.
Wonderful.
My nearest and dearest.
They should know about this.
Yeah, they should know about this. They're all coming over for Christmas Eve. Our
invite got lost in the mail somewhere.
So the premise, we'll make a movie out of that too, and we'll have a big fight. The premise is that it's Southern California, 1941. A few days after Pearl Harbor, everybody in California is terrified, according to the opening serious crawl, like Lucas did in Star Wars, except it doesn't say long ago in a galaxy far, far away. It says in 1941, Californians were terrified of a Japanese invasion, and justifiably. I mean, we were quite surprised at Pearl Harbor. Most people were, civilians were, a lot of military weren't.
And this movie was released in 1979, right?
The movie was released in 79, means it was made in 78. I know for a fact, because I talked to Steven Spielberg right around this time, that he was very impressed with Animal House. Landis was a good friend. Landis is even in the movie somewhere. I couldn't find him. Did you find him?
I saw him on the credits, but I don't know where he was. Mickey Rourke either. He was supposed to be in it too, and I don't remember where he was.
Well, I don't either. Well, everybody
he could have been in one of the brawl scenes, somewhere.
That's right. Yeah, he could have been stuffed inside Nancy Allen's bra. I mean, how many pairs of white panties do we need to see in a movie? So many. I mean, such a he would call it a love of the female form, especially ass and thighs and bosoms. But it's a movie was
especially
made
in
by
that
boys.
plane, in the plane when it was simulating flying, and then and he pulled their little skirt up. I was like, yeah, that's Nancy Allen, yeah.
A movie, as I was saying, obviously made by boys.
For boys.
13, 14 years old. But you're right. John Landis is in it. Mickey Rourke's got a credit in it. The mayor of what's the name of the town in Jaws is in it.
The wife from Jaws is in it.
And the wife from Jaws is in it, who is actually, I think, somebody should look this up, who's got access to a computer. Yep. I think Lorraine Gray was married to Jules Stein or married to Lou Wasserman, one of the two people who ran MCA, which then became Universal Pictures, or bought Universal Pictures and became what it is today. But Tim Matheson from Animal House is in it. Belushi from Animal House is in it. Robert Stack from the television version of The Untouchables is in it.
Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd is in it.
John Candy.
John Candy, a very young-looking John Candy with not
Ned
a lot
Beatty.
to do.
He doesn't have very many speaking roles. John Candy doesn't.
Who else?
Just so many.
Not Vin Diesel, but Dweezil. Who's the guy that's up in the Ferris wheel with
that looked like Rick Moranis?
Eddie Deason.
Eddie Deason.
And that was the guy to me. He was like a Jerry Lewis type, like the second coming of Jerry Lewis.
Well, he seemed to think he was, or seemed to be trying to. The only thing he seems to be able to do in this, of course, he's trapped in the seat in a Ferris wheel at the top of the Ferris wheel looking for Japanese submarines. All he seems to be able to do in this is go.
Yeah.
The dummy was much funnier. The little dummy was hilarious to me.
Yeah, the dummy
was much funnier.
When the dummy popped up first, that was one of the laughs this movie got out of me.
I don't want to hear another word out of you, and then a dummy. Okay.
That one made me laugh.
Spielberg directed. Steven Spielberg, the great and inimitable Steven Spielberg, directed it. He made Duel, then he made Jaws, then he made Sugarland Express, then he made Close Encounters. So he could do no wrong. So the studio obviously gave him all the money he could use, because there must be 200 or 300 extras in some of those fight scenes.
And they must have spent a ton of movie on this. But I mean, they trashed an entire house and
Yes, I know. They built a whole house and then they pushed the house off a cliff into the ocean.
Yeah, I'm watching that going, man, that cost,
It's not worth the joke.
Ferris wheel, you think it's like that's the end. And when he takes that wreath and goes over and it hits it on the door, and the door stays, and the whole house slides down.
Yeah, it's like I've seen Looney Tunes before.
Yeah, if you weren't expecting that to happen, you've never seen. Yeah,
which I mean, and that in itself is a lift, not perfectly, but almost perfectly out of a Buster Keaton movie. There's wonderful Buster Keaton movies where he builds a house and then it collapses around him, and he's standing there. And the door he happens to be standing where the door is. The house collapses around him. He's fine. I mean, it's a flip on that. But he does flips on everything. I mean, the fight between the Army and the Navy is reminiscent of at least one John Wayne movie, and probably a couple when they get back in stateside in the Army and the Navy, who hate each other, so we are led to believe, stand off and fight each other. And there's hundreds of people. The fight in the nightclub spills out onto the street, becomes a riot. And how long have any of you ever been to Hollywood?
No.
No.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been there a couple of times.
Yeah.
And Hollywood Boulevard, which is where the general in charge of the whole Southern District of California is
He's
watching the
watching
movie Dumbo.
Dumbo. And crying.
And crying and
Hey,
weeping.
it's
and
a
crying.
sad.
And
I cried during that part.
and he was also singing along with Heckle and Jekyll, with the Magpies, that
The
song.
Yeah.
That's
But
banned now.
but that's Hollywood Boulevard, and those two planes fly for probably 10 minutes down Hollywood Boulevard, and it just
Yeah.
goes on and on and on, never a turnaround. I mean, the movie is a jumble and a mess. It looks great. Billy Fraker shot it, who's a great cinematographer, really great. I mean, he gives you some of the best color anybody gave you in those days in Hollywood. And it's got all these people in it. We could go on probably naming people. I don't have a separate screen to bring
Treat
up.
Williams, another one.
Treat Williams, who I think he hadn't. Yeah, he'd probably just finished Hair.
He was the rapist. And he said, "Oh, you stole my
He's a-
girl. The
he's
girl
a-
you were trying to rape?"
Yeah,
he was a
comedy.
He spends the whole movie trying to rape this innocent young blonde girl,
And it
who
gets
subsequently
spoiled.
got out of show business. What?
And then her girlfriend's chasing after him the whole time. The
I
Wendy
know.
Jo Sperber, the chubby girl.
Again, it
who
was a
is
Pepe
pretty-
Le Pew show.
Yeah, it was pretty.
It
yeah,
was
pretty
like
rough.
a really, really badly done Three Stooges movie to me. Like,
Wait, say that again.
to me, it was like a really, really badly done, like, wannabe Three Stooges.
Molly
With
didn't
all of
like
the physical
over-the-top
comedy?
physical.
It was definitely a wannabe something. It was like Three Stooges. There was so much physical. The pratfalls, every one of them you've seen before, every gag you've seen before. There's one gag that I remember Landis had me do in a movie called The Stupids, where one guy's looking through binoculars, and the guy next to him wants the binoculars, grabs the binoculars out of his hand, and the other guy goes, "Whoop!" I
Yeah.
mean, it's just, they're gags that have been done 1,000 times. And it's okay to do a gag over and
I'll
over
call you
again.
back when I'm done.
Oh, tell him I'll call him back too. And tell him to stop calling me here.
He called me during the freaking. It's a comic friend of mine. I don't know. It must be something important, but yeah. I mean, it's the
Okay.
second time he's called, so he can wait.
He can wait. Or put him on. We'll talk to him. I'll talk
Oh,
to him.
sure.
But it's okay to do gags over and over and over again. I mean, and there's also kind of, I think, a half-assed attempt to do some Bud Abbott, Lou Costello wordplay things, where like the "Who's on first" kind of thing. Only they don't do it nearly with the subtlety
Right.
or the dexterity that Bud Abbott and Lou Costello do it. And
Well,
and they give up right away. They don't try it. They don't extend it.
I
No,
really
it's awful.
liked Aykroyd because being in the military and the technical manuals, how he's telling him never pull this open, never load it in. He's telling him everything not to do, and he's going through all the steps on how to fire the weapon.
Right.
To me, it was one of the funniest things because when Ned Beatty's going back through it, he's saying it out loud
He's
what the guy
saying
told him
never
not
and
to
does
do.
all.
Yeah.
Right.
And that just kind of, to me, was funny.
Dan Aykroyd's character part in this was the one like saving grace to me.
Yeah.
Like I enjoyed, his part in the movie.
Yeah.
But-
No, he's very good. And Belushi's good too. I mean, Belushi's good in what
Yeah.
he does, but
Yeah.
mostly what he does. I think I've told you, excuse me, a story that his driver on 1941 told me. And this is also, remember Robin Williams once said, cocaine is God's way of saying you're making too much money?
Yeah.
Well, I think this movie is also another way of God saying, you guys are making too much money. Because I had Belushi's driver was my driver on a Universal picture I made with Bill Murray called, I can't remember what it's called. It's about Hunter Thompson and where the Buffalo roam.
Where the Buffalo roam. I have that movie. You're in that?
Yeah, I am. I
I
play
have to watch that again.
I play like Ron Ziegler or something, Nixon's press secretary.
Okay.
But I had the same driver, and the driver knew I was in Animal House. He said, "How about that Belushi? Huh? I was his driver in 1941." And he tells me the story that may or may not be apocryphal. I don't know. But it does indicate what cocaine was like in those days. Belushi's showing up late to the set. This guy driving him, waiting for him at the Chateau Marmont, picking him up, driving him to the set. They get to the set on an airfield where they're supposed to be. And Belushi said, "Boy, I had a rough night last night. Can you give me a boost?" Asking for a little cocaine to just get him up and get him going. And the guy said, "Just happens to have a fresh gram, those little glass bottles that you guys are all too young to remember."
Oh, I remember.
Okay. You get your cocaine in, and what you're supposed to do is dip a little spoon in, and then, or your fingernail if you have a fingernail long enough. So he hands it to Belushi. What?
Or a key. Just put a little key in there.
Yeah, that's right. Or key, or the tip of your knife, or anything you can get in a little. But Belushi Belushi takes this bottle and sticks the thing up his nose and goes, "Okay, let's go." The whole gram. That's the story. Now, it's hard to imagine that he got a whole gram up his nose, but probably not. So,
no, probably Belushi. I would imagine so. I think that role he played was so over the top. I mean, like it was almost like just go fucking nuts because he did.
Yeah, do all the stuff you do and do it more than you do it. I mean, isn't there a scene that's the rhythm when he's the scene in Animal House where he's walking down the stairs and Stephen Bishop is playing a guitar and he grabs it, and that's played very cleanly, very nicely. He stops, he listens, a shot of him doing eyebrows, listening. And then he grabs the guitar and breaks the crap out of it. And he does there's a similar moment in this. I can't remember what it is, where he's walking by something and he sees something and he kicks the shit out of it, just out of the blue. And so, he was doing all Belushi shtick, eyebrows, and Stephen, I'm sure, did just say, "Okay, John, it's a shot on you. Do something." And so, because it looks like that. It looks like John is hunting for things to do.
The cigar stayed lit like the entire time.
I know.
When he swam up.
So one time when he got on the submarine, it was not lit, and he had just asked everyone, like the Japs are surrounding him, and he's like, "Anyone got a light?"
Yeah,
the rest of the movie, he swam to the sub.
Comes into this Jap sub with all his bravado, and they're all pointing guns at him, and he looks at him. "Anybody got a light?" Yeah, it's so there's funny bits in it, but they're just working so hard. They must have been exhausted, and also they just must have been exhausted.
It was so chaotic for me. There was so much going on, and it was like they were trying so hard to be like funny that it wasn't funny to me. And
it's like he's trying to make. I don't know if you've watched any of those big World War II movies, like A Bridge Too Far, or there's one about D-Day that have like 17 million stars in it and 6 stories or 12 stories that are going on, and they all come together at the bridge. It's like he's trying to do that, but do it funny. And because it is, you're right. There's so many stories, there's so many things trying to be interwoven. There's poor Warren Oates planted out there in some field with a bunch of guys, and Belushi's plane lands, and they do one scene. Warren Oates is a wonderful character actor, wonderful cowboy character actor. Dub Taylor is in it. Dub Taylor, who was the father of, in Bonnie and Clyde, the father of Michael J. Pollard, is in it. He just Spielberg just put out a call and said, "Oh, and you know who else is in it? Who actually has a speaking part? Sam Fuller, who is Sam Fuller is a great director. He directed a film called White Dog, and I think Shock Corridor. He's more known for things like Shock Corridor or Freaks. I can't remember which one of those or both of those he directed. But Sam Fuller plays one of the generals who's talking to Warren Oates on the phone about the hidden Jap airfield in Pomona, which is very funny in and of itself. And not very funny, it's just kind of funny.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you this. Did you notice that the guy that was in, what's his name, that was in Animal House with you, that played Eric Stratton?
Matheson? Tim Matheson.
So his name was Eric Stratton in Animal House.
Right.
And then the girl he was trying to bang, her name was Donna Stratton. Did you notice that?
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Oh, yeah. I didn't notice that.
And Tim was doing. I mean, it was like he walked right out of Animal House and was chasing.
Just put on the uniform.
Just put on the uniform and continued chasing skirts wherever he went.
He's
doing
great.
the same thing. Bless him. I mean, he's a wonderful guy, and it's just a movie, so it's not the end of the world. But yeah, and there's little stuff like that. Other stuff I didn't take notes, so I don't really remember all the other stuff. But there's little tags where they're tagging up with the movie Animal House, tagging up with Abbott and Costello, tagging up with a lot with the Three Stooges, with all the pratfalls, tagging up with those great. I mean, there's some great John Wayne middle to end career movies where there are just bar fights, and you feel like the movie was made just so they could stage a bar fight, like North to Alaska, and that bar fight, and let's make it bigger. Also, even though Blues Brothers was made a year later, or came out a year later, it feels like he was tagging up on Blues Brothers too, because that just like the cop car crashes in Blues Brothers, where there, I think 150 or something cop cars crash. It sounds like they were saying, okay, we're going to do this bar fight, but we're going to do the biggest bar fight ever.
They were just having fun.
Let's try to take
we're just having fun and send me another suitcase full of $12 million.
What else can we do? What else can we put in here?
And they're dancing while they're fighting. I mean, like doing the jitterbug and all this other stuff.
That part was impressive.
It was the
running up the wall and doing the
Bobby Gyptico running up the wall. And him and a few of those other people were in that movie. I Want to Hold Your Hand. Did you see that movie when they were going to go see the Beatles? It's a comedy.
Yeah, I did see that a long time.
So Bobby DeCicco and Wendy Jo Sperber, she was also in it, and that Eddie Deason character, they were all three in that movie as well. I was like, I wonder if it's the same kind of people that put it together. I don't know who put together I Want to Hold Your Hand, but that's another one I used to like, but when I was a kid, you know?
Yeah, no, it's a nice movie. But it's kind of low budget. Not independent, probably made by a studio, but it was pretty low budget movie if I remember.
Right.
Eddie Deason was in that movie too.
Yes, he was. He was a big fan of the Beatles. He knew everything about him. He was annoyingly knew everything about the Beatles.
Well, everything about this movie is annoying.
Did they miss any of the racial stereotypes in this movie though? Either?
God, that one bit in the tank when I can't remember the actor's name, but you've seen him 1,000 times, a black guy, and John Candy has got something all over his face, blackface, and the other guy's got flour all over his face, and they do this thing.
They're laughing at one another. You could never do that today. You couldn't
John Candy did that. I was like, get it off me.
Get it off me, yeah.
That's right. He's terrified because he suddenly looks like a black man. And then the black guy says something about it that's it's equally racist. But all kinds of racial stereotypes. And of course, Belushi says something about it when he's just about to shoot the submarine, when he's flying over and going to shoot the submarine, something about you slants. I mean, all the racial slurs that we used against Japanese, and them being short.
Yep. Check them for stilts was my favorite.
Every time they see
check them for stilts, kick their legs.
Kick them in the shin.
Kick them in the legs. That's right.
He checks out.
And Matheson, when they kick him in the leg, being the really good actor that he is, continues to limp for about half a scene.
Well, the Japs in the sub and even the German, like in the sub, were so
Christopher Lee, and he's speaking German, and the other guy's speaking Japanese. Like they're not even speaking the same language to one another.
That's Count Dooku.
we watched it with the subtitles on.
Oh yeah.
Just because ours is set to subtitles, but for most of the sections, it just says speaking German or speaking Japanese. They don't even bother to translate it. So I don't know if they were even like,
some of the German words I picked up on. So he was definitely speaking German.
But it just says speaking
Peter
German.
Cushing probably does speak German. I mean, he's English. He's a smart guy, so he probably does speak German. Or he went out and learned it.
Subtitles normally translate. When they're speaking.
But the subtitles are interesting because there were times when they translated the Japanese, and speaking of Peter Cushing, fucking Toshiro Mifune, who's like one of the great actors that ever walked on the planet Earth. He plays the commander of the Japanese submarine. Did I already say that?
You said Peter Cushing? I thought that was Christopher Lee. Am I mistaken?
Lee.
I think is it Christopher Lee?
Yeah.
Christopher Lee, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Peter Cushing. Okay. I get the two of them confused.
Yeah, those white guys all look alike.
Oh, the tall, evil white guys. Yep. One of my favorite, I may have mentioned this once before, one of my favorite reviews ever was a review of Richard Lester's version of The Three Musketeers that happens to have Raquel Welch in it and Faye Dunaway. And the critic in the New Yorker, I think it might have been Penelope Gillet, said, Richard Lester happens to have realized that Raquel Welch and who's the other one I just mentioned?
Faye Dunaway.
And Faye Dunaway are the same actress. And I always think of Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee are the same actor. Wait, so who's
Raquel
the one?
Raquel Welch and Faye Dunaway are nothing alike, though. Seriously.
Watch The Three Musketeers.
I will have to check that out. Yeah,
the first one. It's really a great movie. It's some of the great sword fights of all time in it.
I've seen it. It's been a while though.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's got a great cast: Oliver Reed, Finney. What's his name? Jack Finney, not Albert Finney. Jack Finney. Michael York as D'Artagnan. It's got a good cast. Mm-hmm. Now, which one of Christopher Lee or Peter Cushing is the one that's in Lord of the Rings?
That's Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee, and he was in StarArs.
And he was in. Okay, so it is Christopher Lee. That's the guy in there. But yeah, so it's a mess. If you've got nothing to do and you're making cookies and just want something to look over your shoulder at, I recommend 1941.
Maybe a kid would laugh at it. Younger.
I think the pratfalls a kid would laugh at. Yeah.
A kid that hasn't seen Looney Tunes before, that didn't get the Looney Tunes.
How dare you?
Yeah, a kid that's been kept in a closet till he was 12 years old.
How dare you?
It's just a pile of Hustler magazines.
Yes, right at that age.
Sounds like Tom.
That's where I matured and stayed. I said, I like it right here. I'm leveling off into adulthood.
And it also feels as though they had a lot of money, but they didn't have time to do more than one or two takes. They may have been laughing so much at each other that they didn't, because Nancy Allen and Tim Matheson, and Tim's really, really good at working with other actors and finding their rhythm and creating a kind of a connection, a chemistry. And there's none between he and Nancy Allen. And anywhere. I mean, there's one, I was going to say there's one kiss that looks like they might have actually been kissing each other, but I'm making that up. There was one kiss where I thought this might be a good kiss, and then I realized that they're just trying to eat each other's lips or something. They're hungry or pissed or just let's get through this. But one of the things you use takes for, if you got 2, 3, 4, 5 takes before you, I mean, even though the director may be thinking he can get something out of those takes are used to sort of develop a chemistry, develop a connection.
Right. But
there's nothing. So I don't know either. I don't know
why you chose this movie then, Mark.
I don't know either. Maybe as a lesson.
No,
yes.
What can we
learn?
Enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. I did. I enjoy those silly movies like that. I do.
I know.
I normally do.
I think there's a place for really silly movies. I happen to prefer silly movies that are really well organized and well made. And this one, as good, and Spielberg, I mean, the opening couple of minutes with that crawl, that very serious crawl, those shots of the Northern California, and then the woman driving up and getting out, and polar bear club on her back, and then she runs naked down the beach into the water and goes.
It was
swimming.
like the beginning of Jaws, and it even had the Jaws music.
They even had, John Williams did the music. He pulled everybody back. He said, "Come on, we're making a movie." And he even did the Jaws music very faintly because Universal owned it. And Universal made this, so they could do it. Yeah, no, it was.
Tom completely missed it. I was like, and he was like, "What?"
I'm like, oh, there's a naked chick already. There'll be plenty more.
They pulled out Slim Pickens too.
Right.
Slim Pickens. I didn't even know he was still alive then. They yanked him out because the Japanese had him as the trying to ask where Hollywood was.
Here's another question. Why was that sub always going underwater with the door still open? The entire movie. They're submersing and the dude's still looking at the naked chick.
That's right. Somebody's
water spilling down the.
And they slapping him.
John Belushi gets there and he jumps in and with the water going down the stairs. Every single shot that they show of the.
That was another racial stereotype of the Japanese just not getting technology. And yet, but there's a joke about the radio.
We got to make
to
these
fit
smaller.
Slim Pickens. Slim Pickens. How could we forget Slim Pickens doing it?
That's what
he walked from the set of Dr. Strangelove over to the set of 1941 and did the same thing. And when they're trying to get his radio into the submarine, and one of the Japanese said, "We'll have to figure out a way to make this smaller."
Right.
Well,
and then the Cracker Jack compass.
They had the compass from the Cracker Jack box.
That's right. That's right. I know. It's just one stupid. And let's. It's like making everything cookies. You know, where the cookies where you take every nut and every piece of chocolate and everything you've got in the cupboard and you put it in there. It's like they did that with this. It's like we're making a movie.
That kind of sounds good, though.
Yeah. I love everything cookie, and so you can make it so that it tastes good. So there's a balance, but there's no balance. There's no.
No.
It's sad to see. It's the saddest part is that they did spend a lot. I have no idea how much money they spent on it. My brother knows a website where you can go.
It made almost $100 million, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I bet people were running
94.6 million.
How much did they spend making it? Do you know? Do you have that website?
I don't.
I'll grab it.
Check
it out.
I bet with the cast, people were running to the theaters to see it.
Sure. No,
especially
it had
right
Belushi
after
in it,
Animal
and
House.
all these people, and it was Steven Spielberg.
$35 million to make, and they made $95 million. Yeah, 94.9. So
they
they made
profited
$60 million. They didn't care.
Yeah,
and it's a shame this thing was so successful.
So you can talk all the shit you want about it. It's a successful movie.
Well, see, my problem with it.
You can talk all the shit and should talk all the shit you want about Richard Nixon, but he got elected president, or Donald Trump, and he got elected president. I mean, good stuff makes money. Bad stuff makes money too.
I wish we, just the four of us in this room, had that cast and budget and told to make a movie. I'm sure we could have done better.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Even with that premise, did you say with that premise, with that cast, even with that premise?
Yeah.
Even with that premise. But the problem with it is it could have been funny. It could have been. There were funny parts.
There's funny bits. There
were funny parts. But to me, it was more of it irritated me because they didn't spend really any time building any of the characters or making you. It was getting from one gag to the next, and that was like the whole movie. And
you're free. We can write a part for you quick.
Right.
Yeah. Somebody shows up on the set. Oh, put him in a helmet. Let's shove him in front of the camera.
It was so jumbled. It didn't make sense. It wasn't like it was like you're just throwing that in there for
Yeah, no, it and like we said early on, it's so effortful. There's so much work going in, and like you said, Molly, they toss everything they can in there, and with no sense of character except what the actor can do by whatever he does, whatever faces he makes.
Was there any comedy in like running the tank through a paint store and watching it roll over different colors?
That was just for fun. I saw that scene.
Because who's working at the paint store that late at night?
I saw that scene. I was like, oh, they had this on the back burner. They had this empty warehouse and a bunch of cans, and they wanted to have fun. Wouldn't this be cool? Oh my gosh, this will be so much fun. Let's put that in there. That's what they did.
So they had fun making.
Yeah, and again, it's like I've seen that gag where they're going through a paint store and splashing paint, but never where it's a paint factory where there's vats with
we could do this
1,000
bigger.
gallons of yellow and 1,000 gallons of red. And
we
they
were
don't
about
even
to paint our house. You know how much that scene bothered me with the price of paint right now?
Although that paint was really, really watered down. It was just colored water.
Yeah, it may have been. It probably wasn't real paint. But they didn't even
Enjoy
use
the bit.
I watched it
watered
and I
down
literally
paint.
said,
It's watercolor. Of course it is, Molly. Jesus,
I-
you think I use real paint?
I watched it. I was like, oh, they just wanted to have fun with it. You know,
Molly, you were in a bad mood that day, and when Molly's in a bad mood,
I wasn't, because I wanted to like this movie because
I got Molly
love all
figured
these
out.
actors.
Molly wants all or nothing with their movies. The problem is this movie was so bad, but made her laugh. And the more she laughed at it, the more
she
mad
got
she
mad.
got.
She got mad because she wanted to hate it, but she was still laughing at it.
I was
because
mad
it
by the
made
end of
her
this
feel
movie.
stupid because she's laughing at a stupid movie. You know what this movie was missing, really, though? The one thing this movie
Cowbell.
was missing:
Cowbell.
Douglas C. Niedermeyer, Sergeant at Arms.
I'm sure Mark read the script and said, no, thank you.
Probably like,
Well,
busy.
In those days, I would have blown an elephant to be in any movie. But
I mean,
I was busy producing Chilly Scenes of Winter. I did meet Spielberg, and I think I met him on this movie, and he passed. I didn't impress him. But he was. But Niedermeyer is so much more subtle a character.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little over the top.
He wanted the over the top. I mean, I was angry by the end of this movie, and it did make me laugh, though. I liked the scenes. I liked Dan Aykroyd's character in this. There were scenes that made me laugh.
Yeah.
But overall, at the end of this movie, I was mad. I was upset. I went and wrote a review on Amazon.
Angry laughter.
Wait, let Molly finish that sentence. What did you say, Molly?
Go ahead.
I said I went on Amazon and wrote a review after watching this, and I don't normally do that.
Read it.
You really didn't like it.
I
Go
did.
ahead.
Read it, Molly.
No.
Read it. This is review.
Oh, yeah,
this
read
is a
your
review
review.
we're doing. Read it.
I'll tell you what I put.
Okay.
I'm not going to read it. I'd have to
All
find
right,
it.
tell us what you put. Let's go.
Are we?
What'd you say? I want to hear you get
that point
angry.
already?
It's
Yeah,
that
we're
time.
ready.
It's
Oh my
time.
gosh! I can send you a screen grab of it later.
Okay.
No,
But-
bring it up.
You bring
Give it to me.
Molly.
I'll read it.
There you go. Let him read it.
Send it. Can you send it as a text?
Let the maestro read it. I'll tell you what. I will give
All
my
right.
review while y'all
you
are
go.
working on that. Okay.
Okay.
I saw this movie when it first came out
Yeah.
at the movies. I was in the military. I saw it at a military theater, which I think probably added to my enjoyment of it, because seeing it with a bunch of other soldiers, it just was a great experience.
Yeah.
Now, again, watching it years later, like I did this past week, I get what a lot of you are saying about it. And wasn't the funniest, it wasn't the best, but seeing that whole cast together, it kind of
It's a
made me
great
feel
cast.
good. It made me feel good. And out of 5, I will give it 3 stars because I will watch it again. Not anytime soon, but I will sit down and watch that with my grandson. I've watched this with my sons. They were like ambivalent, Hey, come watch this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
We
know.
don't always have the same taste in movies.
Your son sounds like a pretty smart guy.
Yeah, well, he liked Napoleon Dynamite, and I sat and watched that with him, and it's like, oh, you freaking for real? He goes, well, you have to watch it a few times before.
I would watch Napoleon Dynamite over this.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he
I've
was
watched
right.
Napoleon Dynamite 4 or 5 times.
Right,
Napoleon
he was
Dynamite.
right. The first time I watched it, it annoyed me, and then you
Yeah.
kind of get it a few more times after you watch it. But
That's true.
it is, Mark, that was your choice for the movie, so I just want to point that out. Don't push that off on
Don't
me.
ever let me suggest a movie again.
No, of course. But this was. I asked you, had you seen 1941? You go, hey, why don't we watch 1941? That's kind of how it went down. Did he?
I think we were also discussing, how Mark didn't end up as a cast member on this movie.
Oh,
Yeah, maybe
with all of the Animal House.
Yeah. And it's so. I mean, how many comedies have Steven Spielberg made?
Oh,
they probably told him to stop after that one. Hey,
is that it? Just
the only one?
I think this is the old. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What other one?
We'll do that next. Good idea. Thanks.
What other one, Molly?
Oh no, I can't think. My son just passed me a note, said it's a mad, mad, mad world.
Oh, that's Spielberg?
No, that's not Spielberg. It's Stanley Kramer, actually.
Oh, that's because that was made a while back.
It was a long time ago. Where he got, and it's very similar. He's been listening. I'm talking so loud, so he's been listening in the other part of the house, in the other wing of the house, and he's heard everything I've said. So it's got this kind of it's a mad, 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 mad world. I think it's really extraordinary, but it's got everybody in it.
Everyone.
And it's total chaos. Have you seen it? Any of
I
you
have.
ever seen it?
I've seen it. It's good. I like it.
Yeah, no, it's great. I love it.
I think I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
It's worth watching. I mean, but there's a through line. There's a story that actually passes through it that they're interested in. And in this, they're really not interested in anything other than, oh, it's a Japanese sub. Let's kill it.
Yep.
And I mean, the whole thing goes that way. There's no love story. There's a rape story.
There's a love for America. Look, they don't make people like that anymore. The Greatest Generation, man.
The guy who would allow the
the guy who felt that he
house to try to hit that submarine. That's how much he loved his country.
I like the guy tapping on the gun. I think you're gonna miss.
And the wife is taking her time to move all the pictures off the wall.
Move the pictures off the wall. No idea what.
I like that family. The two kids, the little kid with the headdress, like the Indian headdress, and they made a trap that the girls fell through in the hole in the wall. It was great.
I can definitely see how watching this movie in a room full of soldiers, even if it was what years were you in?
I was in from 77 to 87.
From 77, you were in for 10 years. So
Yep.
would you have? Where did you see any action anywhere?
No, when I was in, it was mostly Reagan years. Carter was president when I joined up, and then the rest of the time it was mostly Reagan. We went into Grenada, which I didn't have to go. And that was the only thing that we had. But I also saw
there were some Marines who were killed in Lebanon in those days.
That's true. That's true.
So you were in the service when this came out.
Yes.
Look
and
at
then
the
I saw
awesome
stripes
scene.
on a military theater. Military theaters are great because it's kind of wild. It's a bunch of soldiers. Yeah. So when you see a movie like that, it's an experience.
That probably affected your opinion of the movie as well.
100%.
Oh yeah,
no doubt.
They're just seeing it in that environment at that time when you were in a uniform at the same time. Right. I could see how you'd fall in love with it, and love, no matter how foolish, lasts forever.
I give it 3. I didn't give it 5.
It did its job.
Tom, do you want to give your rating?
Sure. I'm a little like. I hate watching a movie.
We have to give Molly a chance to rehearse her.
I found it.
Okay, good.
I hate seeing a movie and going, I could do better. I could do better than Spielberg in this. I know. And I mean, he did Goldmember. He did Roger Rabbit. He did some funny movies.
Yeah. At one point, I turned to Tom and I went, Spielberg directed this, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah, he directed. Although it feels at times as though Stephen might have had a meeting in the tower at Universal, and he turned around to whoever was standing behind him and said, "Would you direct this scene?" Because it feels like somebody else's name could also be on there.
They had one of those random wheels that they spun. Like, what should we do next? Like, just spin the wheel and.
That's right. With every gag that's ever been written or filmed on it, and it's okay.
So it wasn't.
Did they do a pie in the face anywhere? What?
Wasn't it the cake in the face?
There was a cake in the face.
There was a cake in the face. That's right. I knew there was. That's right. I think they got them all.
And all the great movies that have been canceled, and nobody talks about canceling this one that deserves it.
Yeah, the rape especially. And it was so ironic how he said, he stole my girl. Like he's laying claim to her. That's your girl? A girl that you tried to rape?
That he just met?
That you
that
just
he's laid
met.
claim to?
Right.
And he obviously stole her from the other guy. No, it's all.
She didn't want to be around him either, and he was a real creep.
And they put the one most controversial scene out of Dumbo in there too. Like,
should be canceled. So I'm gonna give it a 2 because there were some laughs in there. I got anxiety watching those guys try to cook breakfast.
Oh, they're just throwing stuff on the grill, just eggshells everywhere.
Wasn't there a whole bunch of bottle caps spilled onto the thing and then eggs thrown over there? And that goes nowhere. I'm saying, oh my God, somebody's going to bite into that and there's going to be blood everywhere.
Everybody's eating.
Right. And what happened to those? Oh, well, what's his name? DeChico comes out of that and goes after the girl. The other guy, nothing. We never see the other guy again.
Yes, we do.
You see him later on where he's got the arm around the two girls. That's my buddy.
He was at the dance. And you see him a couple other times.
Right. All right. Yeah. Everybody
he's got like
to dance.
Lipstick marked, like kiss marks all over his cheeks. He's got, the girl on each arm.
There was a lot I missed because I was going, oh my God.
Me too.
He's palming.
We took a couple breaks just to walk around the house and cool off.
Let me tell you.
Hey, did your parents watch it?
No.
I bet they would have loved it.
Oh, I don't think so.
You don't think so? Come on, you don't think Foz would have liked that?
No, absolutely not. He doesn't like awkward comedy.
He doesn't?
No.
Why is it awkward?
He hates Impractical Jokers. He hates what?
He
hates it.
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah.
It's all right. Mal, you got your
Molly, you have your review yet? Oh, what number? Did you give it a number?
I gave it a 2.
A 2.
Did you finish, Tom?
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
I mean, let us have it.
Tom and I were both done about 2 hours ago.
Well, I wrote this review right after I watched it, and I was mad because there were parts that made me laugh. But if we weren't reviewing this movie, I would have turned it off. And I don't normally do that.
Right. It's hard to do. You keep waiting around, something is going to redeem it. Yeah, it's hard to turn
because there was nothing going on that I was invested in. It was just slapstick for the sake of slapstick, and you could everything was so transparent, over the top. And I held myself back when I was writing this review, and this is what I wrote on Amazon. I would have gone on more of a rant, and I was like, nope, I'm just gonna. I gave it a 1 star on Amazon, and I said, this movie is like the worst Stooges want to be movie ever made. Here's a fine example of how not to do physical comedy. I'm sorely disappointed because there's so many great actors in this and I wanted to like it. I don't know of a movie that has made me more upset and want to just turn it off and walk away. Just garbage. That was what I wrote.
1 star.
That's good. That's very clear. Nicely.
If I could give it 0 stars, I would.
Yeah, but I mean, compared to the Three Stooges, I don't think it's anything like the Three Stooges.
No,
it's all physical slapstick.
I said it was the best example of how not to do it. The worst.
The Three Stooges is physical slapstick
kind of
beating one another. This was a little bit different. There was
he's defending his ugly baby.
Out loud were some of the pratfalls and the Stooges type or physical comedy. I mean, it's not just Stooges. The Stooges come out of Keystone Cops and come out of Keaton and come out of Harold Lloyd and all that great physical comedy.
They're not all physical comedy either. When I picture a Stooges movie, I picture just that beautiful chaos along with the physical comedy. And this, I think it was the chaos in this movie that brought to mind the Stooges along with the physical. Okay. But it was so chaotic and scrambled and all over the place. But to me, it just none of it hit home. None of it. There were parts that made me laugh. But
there's a lot to be said for the kind of, exactly what you said, the kind of chaos that the Stooges create, that Laurel and Hardy create, that Chaplin does at times create, but it's contained. It's really an organized chaos. I mean, it's really, in a lot of ways, I think what artists try to do is they take nature, which is in and of itself very chaotic, and they organize it in a way that it makes it manageable and also that you can live through it. The problem with this movie is it just is really chaotic. It really is cocaine. I mean, I have no idea what the cocaine budget was on this movie, but I suspect it was pretty high. I've told you that story about Raging Bull, the Scorsese movie that he made with De Niro.
That's a great movie. That's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
One of my all-time favorites.
I got to look at the budget once, and they made most of it in Southern California, and on studios in Southern California. A lot of it in New York, but they shot it. And there was a $19,000 item in the budget for snow tires. And I was told on good authority that snow tires was for snow.
Yeah.
Oh, $19,000.
We all understand. And they had the arrogance to not even really try to hide it that much. I mean, you don't need snow tires in Southern California. But
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's funny.
And it was.
Can we do that movie sometime?
Can we do Raging Bull?
Oh sure. My God,
we can do it next.
Molly, you've never seen it? No. Tom,
you've never?
Yeah, I've seen it.
I've ridden the ride.
It's Marty. You Raging Bull? Oh
yes,
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, we can do it next if you like. What? So what? Are you giving it? You're giving it a -1, Molly?
You're giving it 1?
No, I gave it a 1.
A 1. Okay, I'm going to give it a 1 too.
I'm disappointed in both of you.
First off, only because it's such a waste of money. There's so much potential in each and one of those actors, and all of them. As much as we talk about how bad the physical comedy is, I mean, there's some really elaborate physical stuff in that fight. Yeah. There's some amazing. The stuntmen should have gotten an Academy Award for this movie because they did some great stuff. And there's
Dan Aykroyd should not reduce himself to oranges in pantyhose on the head.
He had a head injury.
Why did he have pantyhose and oranges in the tank?
He had an injury. When he fell back, he hit his head. And then that's why the other guy had to take over. He was
I get that. But why did he have pantyhose and oranges in the tank?
And all tanks are outfitted with pantyhose.
No, listen. Look. When we would go to the field, when I was in the Army, and they would have you put on long johns to dress in layers, they suggested that if you want another layer, wear some pantyhose to have another layer. And, I did the fishnets on my own. So, no, I'm kidding. But we did wear them. And then also at night, you have to take all that stuff off and get inside the bag. And then you keep the clothes in the bag with you. And then in the morning, you put the clothes on and boom, you're out there. Because we've been some extreme cold weather. Pantyhose, I have worn them. I like the way my legs feel in them.
Did it make your butt look real nice?
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
The problem is you still wear them well. You got a great Army story.
I want to
find a problem. Leave them alone.
Pantyhose. No, that's a long time
ago. I'm going to find some yoga pants so when I walk the dog in the neighborhood, I get a little more attention.
No, you got to get those TikTok leggings with that make your butt look real nice. If you're getting leggings.
Oh, is that what TikTok does? They lift it? Because somebody's designed something that lifts it up and makes it seem perfectly formed.
Yeah, it's a special kind of leggings that was a big TikTok trend.
Are they padded?
It's
like
got
a bra? It could be. I don't know.
It's the way that it's sewn and gathered in the back.
They make it tight in the right spots.
Yeah.
I love though, William, how out of this totally chaotic movie, that's chaos not necessarily by design. You bring logic to it,
right?
Somehow, you can somehow bring some rationality.
There's a lot of chaos going on in my head. I grew up amongst chaos, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, right. Well, okay. Molly, you gave it a 1. I'm going to give it a 1 too, because that's just because of that. So, I mean, I've said everything I have to say. There's nothing more to say about it, unless I could think of somebody else who was in it. The fact that Shiramu Mifune wastes himself in it is just sad. And Danny's great. Danny's always good. Aykroyd. Yeah, it's just bad. Now, so we could do Raging Bull, although I think my son had a good suggestion. If you've not seen It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, you could see it. I mean, it's I think it's 50s or 60s. Sid Caesar's in it. Everybody's in it. Buddy Hackett is in it.
Everybody that's dead.
Nick Shawn, all dead people are in it. That's right. Nobody's alive. Joey Bishop he wanted Stanley Kramer directed it. He wanted all the comedians in town, And the only one that said no was Joey Bishop. And later, Joey Bishop said, I should have said yes. Because everybody's in it. Even Spencer Tracy is in it at the end. He's like the grounding person in it.
Are we okay with that one? And then maybe we do Raging Bull. We keep it on the docket for later.
Yeah, we want to do that. It's a Mad World, and then do Raging Bull.
Ethel Merman.
And Mark, if
Milton
you'd like
Berle.
to have your son, review the movie with us next time, that would be great too.
I'll bring
because he picked it.
Yeah,
he picked it out. Okay, Julius, you have to do it next time we do this. You have to do the review. We're going to do it to Mad World. Okay.
Join us.
2 weeks.
All right.
He'll do it.
Mark,
right.
I do have a real quick story for you.
Good.
That I think you might like. We can end on a holiday story. My sister and I have a confession. We used to play cribbage tournaments at Donges Bay Clubhouse, right by your place.
Yeah, right down the end of the clock. Is that Laura's place?
Yes, it is now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And our team name was Mark Metcalf's Bastard Children, and we told people you were our dad. And we said if you ask him about it, he'll deny it.
Of course he will.
And he was telling me the story the other day, and his mom overheard, and she's like, I never knew that. I never heard that story. I never knew that you guys.
That was our team name.
You did that right down the street from Libby, Montana. So people who heard that story, they're probably coming into Libby, Montana, and going, he's got bastard kids that play.
He's got bastard, and they.
But you know what?
They suck at cribbage.
You deny it.
My sister is 10 years older than me, but she liked to play it that we were twins. So she really got into it that we were the same age. She was 10 years younger. We used my age. Yes. So that was our team name.
Well, you should have come to Libby, Montana and played cribbage. We had guys who came in for lunch about maybe once a week or twice a month to play have lunch and play cribbage.
I was there Fridays and Sundays volleyball.
You're playing volleyball? Yeah, right.
At Libby.
Yep. That's why my foot still hurts.
Did you ever say hello?
Yeah, we actually, you came out and ran the bar every once in a while.
Yeah, I
like
did.
pitchers of beer every once in a while, and we shot the shit. You were talking about you and your son were going to Alaska to take some cool pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
And you made quite an impression on him there, Tom. He doesn't remember you at all.
He doesn't remember me, and I tell everybody he's my dad.
Typical absentee father.
I can totally see the resemblance.
Happy holidays, Mark.
Happy holidays.
Hey, happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Eat too much, drink too much, have way too much fun, but don't make 1941.
Okay, you too.
Bye. Thanks. I'll remember that.